Okay, good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first Championship Chatters of 2022. As always, I'm Dan from the Four Blades in a Pub podcast, and I'm joined by Phil.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year.
Evening, mate. And this week we're joined by Zack, who I think is a Forest fan. So he's obviously going to listen to me and Phil whinge for a bit and throw his two penneth in, but then obviously we're going to try and up the tempo a bit by talking about Forest upturn since Cooper's come in. So, evening, Zack. Welcome to the show.
Happy New Year, lads. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, mate.
Cheers for coming on. Appreciate it.
So, I don't know about you guys, but obviously Christmas is normally a time of year where I'm looking forward to fixtures, thick and fast, Boxing Day, New Year's Day, that sort of thing. As a Sheffield United fan, we've been dog shit for 18 months, and suddenly we've won 4 on bounce. No one wants to play us. We've had 4 out of our. Is it 4 out of the last 5 called off?
4 out of 5 been called off, and it's been by the other team on every one of them.
Yeah, through no fault of our own. So we've not had a fixture since we played December.
We beat Fulham about 19th of December, something like that.
So yeah, so we have played a game in December, but that was it. So my kind of interest in football over Christmas kind of waned down to zero, and I spent my Christmas eating cheese and biscuits and watching Indiana Jones. So I don't know what you guys thought about it.
Do you know what? The QPR game, I was a bit like, no, I'm a bit annoyed about that, because we'd heard the reports in the papers, or their manager come out and said, we've got six of our first teamers are out injured. But I'm thinking, we're going to keep this run going. We've got a chance here. And then lo and behold, COVID's taken over and the game gets called off. We then go and beat Fulham. Then I've got my chance to go to my first away game for 18 months on Boxing Day away at Preston. That gets cancelled. Then Hull fanny off for 2 games in a row. And then Chris Wilder pulls one on us against Middlesbrough on New Year's Day. And the New Year's Day one did me completely knock my duck off. Like, properly ruined my mood for a good 24, 48 hours. Because I'd been so looking forward to it. And for it to go the way it did, it just, I don't know. I've, like you say, I've not taken any interest in football because it's just pissed me off that much. It really has.
What do you think, Zack? Because obviously we've had 4 games called off in a fairly short space. Have Forest suffered with any games off?
No, so we survived the call. We had Boxing Day away at Middlesbrough. Didn't go to that one, but due to the culling of all the other fixtures, we ended up getting chucked on Sky Sports at the last minute. So so Blackburn, they all travelled, didn't they, in their numbers to Hull, and then about 2 hours before kickoff.
Yeah, they got
2 hours before kickoff, they got sent back home, and I guess we reaped that benefit, and then quickly lost to Chris Wilder's new Middlesbrough Wizards. And yeah, he was linked with the Forest job before, and then he's put a right number on us. And although I know you guys are saying obviously Christmas and everything got ruined, but it wasn't too good losing to Middlesbrough 2-0 on Boxing Day either.
Yeah,
that's
the flip side of it. And I'm saying that from a Sheffield United fan and from a fan that wants to go and watch football. But think a bit of the broader subject. I feel so sorry for them Blackburn fans that have gone away from their families on Boxing Day to have the game called off 2 hours before kickoff. That's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
And yeah, I can't imagine what transport's like from Blackburn to Hull, but I can't imagine it was the easiest situation, or them lot getting there as well. And of course, they're all out of pocket now. And I'm sure they would have been the same as this guys wanting to just go and watch the football over the Christmas period. So it's really derailed it. And I agree with the lack of interest. I look at the table now and it's just a minefield. Like everyone's in with a chance of playoffs, in with a chance of relegation. You boys are literally 2 points off us, and we think we're on a playoff charge. So it's really put a bit of a needle in the balloon, hasn't it?
It has, and the thing is, I get that there will be teams who do suffer and who physically cannot put a side out unless they start, going into under 12s. But like it or not, and whether fans of QPR, Hull, Middlesbrough, Preston, like it or not, there are clubs that have turned this to their advantage. Not just in this division, in the division above. They've kind of looked at the fixtures and gone, yeah, we could probably put a team out, but we'd rather not. So let's get it off. And that's partly to do with the EFL. The EFL haven't been strong enough in saying, right, if you have, if you can put a side out and fill your bench, and you've got 2 goalkeepers, you play this fixture. Whether you go into your under 23s or your under 18s, that's what they're there for. Otherwise, you may as
one of the biggest mockeries for me is Middlesbrough fielding a full under-23 team the next day after getting the game called off against us. If they can field an under-23 team, they can fulfil a championship match, whether it's against us or not. That's just taking advantage of a situation. It's just not right.
Otherwise, you may as well go back to when people hark back to the 80s and they go, Everton won title in 1982 and they played 8,000 games and they used 11 and a half players. You may as well go. You may as well go back to that. You may as well say teams are going to just have a squad of 13, and if they're injured, there's nothing we can do. This is what clubs have got 25-man squads for. You've got 2 and a bit first teams there, or you've got 2 and a bit teams. Use them. If you've got fair enough, if all 25 are unavailable and all your medical staff, I get that there might be issues if you can't put a physio and a club doctor out. I get that's an issue because you can't not have a medical support staff. But if you can put a side out with a goalkeeper and a goalkeeper on the bench and a load of 16-year-olds on bench, fulfill the fixture. I'm sorry.
But it makes a mockery of it, doesn't it? Liverpool's game against Arsenal's off tomorrow. Leyton Orient had to give a bye for the same reason in the same competition. Why are Liverpool not having to do the same? Not only that, Liverpool have tweeted today, sorry guys, your game's off tomorrow. However, our game on Saturday's still on against Shrewsbury in the FA Cup. I bet it fucking is.
And didn't Liverpool a couple of seasons ago when they wanted to play in the Club World Cup put an under-16 side out against Villa in the Carabao Cup when they were quite happy enough to fly their first team squad across to, was it Brazil?
Brazil, yeah.
They were quite happy to do that and put the kids out against Villa in the same competition. So why not do that now? Because it doesn't suit.
Yep.
Yeah, they just don't like that competition, do they? Or African Cup of Nation bowls about, and they're like, "Nah, we'll play you in a few weeks once we're all sorted." So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they've got obviously 2 of their best players out obviously at Atkin in Salah and Mane. So they'll be trying. I'm guessing they'll be trying to get as many fixtures off as possible. Yeah, the thing is, the EFL can't do anything now because they can't draw a line in the sand now because all the teams that have done it up to now and have suffered for it, like us, will say, well, hang on, this is not fair now because teams are going to have to fulfil fixtures against second 11s when we are not. We're going to have to play Middlesbrough, for example, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks time, when they've not only got their current first 11, but they've added players to it in the transfer window. So, they're on the verge of signing the lad from Arsenal on loan, Balogun, is it?
Yeah.
And did they actually get Connolly over the line from Brighton?
Yeah. Connolly was signed before New Year's Day, but he wasn't allowed to play against us.
So when we play Middlesbrough, whenever it is, end of this month, beginning of February, they're going to have a brand new forward line. And I know there's nothing we can do.
I'm looking at Zack and he's like, I don't care. Stop moaning.
No, you're quite right. Wilder's pulled a number on you, though. You've sacked him off at the first opportunity, haven't you, with a bit of struggle, and he thought, oh, I'm going to get one back on him.
Do you know what? I think there is a bit of that. I do think, not so much us as fans, but certainly the paymasters that he's got the beef with against the way that things finish with him. I do think there's a bit of that.
Sweet, won't it? Very bittersweet ending for him after everything.
And he does like a bit of mind games, doesn't he? He likes a bit of mind games. He said when the fixture was still on, Sheffield United are favourites. I've met them favourites. This break's done them good. It really hasn't. Not playing for 3 games doesn't do you good. You lose that match sharpness. You lose that. You lose that edge, don't you?
So I was talking to a pal of mine who's a professional footballer, former professional footballer today, and asking him what's your thoughts on it when it's like this, when you have that longer break versus playing regularly. He says not one professional footballer will tell you they prefer a 3-week break to be playing over playing 4 or 5 games in that period. Not one professional footballer will tell you that. They'd much rather be playing games either to get that consistency to continue or to put something right if it's gone wrong in the previous game. The worst thing they can do is have that break for as long as what we're appearing to have now.
The thing is, I won't mind.
Lose the sharpness, don't they? Completely lose the sharpness.
That's it. You can keep your fitness up. You can run on the training ground. You can run on a treadmill to keep you can keep fit doing that. But like you said, Zack, it's that match sharpness. It's that 1 second, that split-second decision, making the right decision, isn't it? Going back to Chris Wilder. Well, I'm amazed he didn't put a team full of kids out because every season he was with us, come January, just before the transfer window, he would always put a fetus on the bench as a way of saying to the board, I need some money for transfers. Every year we had like a 7-year-old on bench every single season.
I remember Barnet beating us 2-1. He'd made 1-0, sorry, in the FA Cup. Same date, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, it was the 2nd of January. And he made, I think it was 14 changes to the match day squad that game. Convenient when it's convenient, isn't it?
Even when we're in Premier League, you know, he suddenly pulled Antoine Hackford out of under 16s. Is he? I think he was 15, 16, lobbed him on bench as a way of saying to the board, I need some players. So if anyone likes packing the bench with youngsters, it's him. So these do sound like the rantings of a bitter man, and I do apologize.
I am. Do you know what? No, I don't mind admitting I am bitter about it. It's really got to me. It really has, and I think that the ramifications of what happens next are going to get to me even more because I don't think it's fair. There's a level of fairness that's gone.
So what do we think happens now then? Do we think this keeps going on where fixtures are getting cancelled at 24, 12, 8, 2 hours notice? Or do we think it's going to come to a stage where the league go, right, do you know what? Sorry, let's have a break. Let's knock the fixtures off for 3-4 weeks, let everything recover. What do they do? What do you think, Zach?
I hope it doesn't get to that stage where you said there, where we have that 3-4 week break, because it will just make the problem even worse, won't it, in the long run? We're not going to be away from any of these issues. It just means we're going to have an even more crammed fixture list than before. And I think your point about signings, that's a really good point, because now Middlesbrough bring a few in. I know Forrest, we've already got Keenan Davis in on loan. We've got Steve Cook from Bournemouth, and that's 5 days into the transfer window. So come the end of the month, we could have 5, 6, and we already had a big squad anyway. So for the
Keenan Davis from Villa?
Yeah, so we've got Keenan Davis on loan from Villa, who his record isn't great, but I've seen him a few times, and he's a handful. And we've been due a strike like Lyle Taylor. I don't like talking about him too much. I'm not his biggest fan, and then Lewis Graben's a bit over the hill as well. So that could be a big turn up for us. So for us bigger clubs, I guess, who have got those finances, this will be a good thing. But for those smaller
Cook's
teams,
a good signing as well.
Yeah, just to say that's a couple of good signings that for Forest.
Yeah, I think from both Villa fans and Bournemouth fans, you know, you normally see it where a player is going out and they're getting hounded and told they're dog shit. But with these two, it's like rave reviews. So that can go one or two ways. We'll see how they settle in. But for us, getting those in January when we normally have a really bad window, and Jed Spence as well, he's staying from Middlesbrough, who Chris Wilder was expected to recall due to his love of 5 at the back. He's a great wing back. He's had a good season for us. So he's going to stick about. So 5 days in, we've had a great transfer window. But you look at Barnsley, who we postponed our game against. They've sold the striker to West Brom, haven't they? They haven't got too much finances. So we'll be in an even better position than them come the end of the month when we play them. Yeah. So all in all, it's just, again, a good thing for the bigger teams and a bad thing for the smaller teams, isn't it? Making that gap wider.
On the subject of Lyle Taylor, by the way, we had him for a very, very short period of time, and we absolutely feel you paid.
Yeah, oh, honestly, I'm not sure if you can remember the game, but Forest were 1-0 down in the 89th minute and against Bristol City, and Lyle Taylor scored 2. The 90th, and even after that game, he just scored those 2 goals. I was at the game, and I couldn't help but continue to slag him off. I don't know, I've just got it in for the boy. I really
He's a big fan of himself, though, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, massively. He's done some good things for us in terms of charity work. And I know I don't particularly agree with his political views. So that's probably got something in the back of my head too. But from a football standpoint, honestly, I can't stand him. And I thought with you two being Sheffield United, I know he had a brief spell. But there's players that you guys have got that I love, like Benny Osborne, Billy Sharp, like top lads who had a good time at Forest. So there's a few good links, isn't there, between the two clubs?
I must admit, Zach, I'm a massive fan of actually refusing to change your opinion even when someone. I must admit, I've died on a few hills like that before. I've kind of made my mind upon a player, and even when he's done well, I've gone, no, shit, I'm not having him. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of you kind of digging your heels in.
It's you blue in the face. It doesn't matter, does it? Once you've said it. Ben Osborne's one of them for you, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yeah, I was just about to say Ben Osborne's one of them. Yeah, I just think he's a captain triad, bang average plodder for me. I'm not having him.
I think you'd have a lot of Forest fans agreeing with you there. He was definitely one that splits opinion. He scored a last-minute winner against Derby for us, though. So in my books, I'll always rave about him. And I'd have him back at Forest tomorrow. So
yeah, in fairness, anyone that scores a winner, never mind a last-minute winner against your biggest rivals, that kind of cements the place in kind of Hall of Fame forever, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, his family are Derby fans as well, aren't they? So
I'm going to say he's a Derby lad.
Yeah,
he?
Derby lad, but he was with Forest from about 8, so I'm sure we got into his mindset, didn't we, and turned him into a Forest fan over the years. Yeah, you've got Jack Robinson as well. How's he been doing for you guys as well?
Shall we change subject?
Yeah, poor, fair.
Yeah, really,
We've also
really.
got Ollie Burke.
Do you know what?
Oh,
in
yeah, I
fairness,
forgot that
in
one. He
his
was
last
going to be a
game,
world beater.
Robinson did well at last game. He played left side centre half of a back three against Fulham, and just did. We didn't ask him to be an overlapping centre half. We didn't ask him to be a ball playing centre half. Just defend, and he did all right. He has got one in him. He really has got one in him. Yeah, he's one of the ones that I'd like to see get. I'd like to see us move him on come January. He's not very. Yeah, he's not good.
Ollie Burt doing nothing either for you?
Oh my God, he's awful.
Yeah, we got the best years from him somehow. I'm not sure how that quite ended up happening.
He came through at you guys, didn't he?
Yeah, we sold him to Leipzig for 13 mil, which we've done an absolute blinder there. Really, we've smashed it, and now he's going around all the other clubs and he wasting away. So
there's a running theme on our podcast that we do about Ollie Burke and Dan's hate affair of him that he's had since almost the first time he saw him pull on a United shirt, and it's never got any better. And it just gets funnier and funnier to see people prod him on Twitter every so often just to wind him up even more.
You know what? He's one of those players that clearly when he was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, he was bigger, stronger and quicker than every other kid he played against. So he looked outstanding. And he blasted through age groups. And then he kind of carried that on a little bit. And obviously managers have looked at him in the same way that people look at Adama Traore and gone, rapid and strong, I can get a tune out of this kid. And then when they get older, they go, actually, fucking rubbish. There's literally nothing else there.
Can I just say at this point, for the purpose of any Blackburn Rovers scouts that might be watching this for some unknown reason,
absolutely.
He's absolutely brilliant, and we don't want to let him go.
Ignore everything I said. I'm talking out my arse.
Don't do that. It'll turn into a world beater doing stuff like that. You've spoke about Brereton. Our mate Brereton Diaz a few times, haven't you? And
yeah,
of course he was at Forest. And to be fair, I always rated him. We're playing Arsenal in the FA Cup this weekend, and a few years back we beat him 4-2, and Brereton tore Per Mertesacker and Rob Holding apart. And when you see a young player have that sort of game where you're like, oh, he could go for it. So the confidence has came. So don't do it. Ollie Burke could end up being like one of them players who re-achieves his potential.
You never know. Yeah, just waiting for someone to awaken him. Yeah, I mean, I remember Brereton. Again, he came through at Forest, didn't he, I think?
And yeah, there's a few heads. Paddy Bamford, another head who came through at Forest. Our academy, I think, over the years has really kept us afloat in some senses. We've had to sell a lot of players to keep it going. I think Matty Cash, who you see at Villa at the minute, he was for our academy, and he's unbelievable, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a good track record for him.
But yeah, I remember
Bamford coming through there. I never knew. I thought he came through at Chelsea, Bamford.
No, we sold him to Chelsea when we were down in the mud, when we had Steve Cottrell as our manager. We needed to get some funds just to get some loans and free transfers in. So we sold Paddy Bamford and we sold Wes Morgan to Leicester in that January. And that kept us. We did stay up in the end with players like George Elokobi. We've came a long way now with Cooper, yeah.
Thing is, you have to do that, don't you? We did that with, not quite to stay up, but to get up from third. We did that with like Calvert-Lewin.
We sold Aaron Ramsdale and Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
And they paid for Jack O'Connell, Mark Duffy, John Fleck, Simon Moore, the kind of spine of the side that ended up taking us up. And it was on the back of selling 2 young players that if we'd have kept, we'd have got a lot more for, but it was needs must.
It's tough making the tough decisions, isn't it? That in the long run are going to pay off, because I know when we sold like your Bamfords, it's a backlash on Twitter, as you'd expect. Like, we shouldn't be selling our younger players. And there's a few situations at the minute where we could sell Brennan Johnson, we could sell Joe Worrell, and we'll make quite a lot of money, but the backlash might not be worth it. So we might keep him for 6 months, give it a go again into the Prem. But if we don't go up this year, they'll be off. And I don't blame
I like him, Johnson. I really like him.
He's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to the top, to be fair. And hopefully we can go along with him. But as I say, we'll lose these players. We've been stuck in this rut for a long time. Like you lot have gone down to League One for a bit, dicked about down there, came back to the Championship, gone to the Prem, and we've still been in the same position. So hopefully we can kick on. As you say, now we've got Cooper in. We'll see.
Yes, about Cooper. Before he took over, then you were bottom, second bottom, 4 points on the board or something like that.
Propping the table up, so it was pre-Derby point deduction. So at the time we were bottom under Houghton. Toxic atmosphere inside the club, that sort of thing. Like, you know, where you go to a game and it's not enjoyable as much anymore. So I'm a season ticket holder and you're just there and the fans are on their back straight away. It's like there was nothing, there was no love for the team. And then as if by magic, he's just came in and the players have just got confidence. That's all that's happened. Like, they feel happy to make a risk with the ball. They'll pass it forward. Whereas before, they'd just be passing it around the back, making mistakes. We'd be scared of the opposition. So yeah, it's been good times with Cooper, to say the least.
Houghton's I think all the clubs I've seen him manager, he's always been very kind of safety first and very defensive. If you get a 0-0, great. If you nick it 1-0, even better. But he's never really been expressive as a coach, has he?
Absolutely. And when you're getting the results, you sort of try and get on board with that sort of football.
Yeah.
Although you don't want to, you can't really argue with it if you're winning. But we weren't winning. The players didn't look bothered. Even in his post-match interviews, you know, where you're just looking like a bloke who's given up already. So it was the right time for him to go, and no doubt he'll be back, won't he, at some club doing them 1-0s to us in the future.
He'll become another firefighter, won't he? He'll go into a club that's struggling, that needs to shore up defensively, that needs to, like I said, nick 3 or 4 games 1-0 and 0-0, and that's what he'll become, won't he?
Absolutely, and I thought he'd do a good job with us. When he came in, I was fairly chuffed. Like, good record at Brighton, good record at Newcastle. Birmingham fans rave about him as well. But with us, it really never settled in. And I think Cooper's came in and he's up for the task. I guess Swansea, we're a much bigger club than Swansea, really. So this is Cooper's first massive job, really. Whereas Chris Hughton, he's managed Newcastle, who are a bigger club, not in terms of success, but they're definitely a bigger club. So for Cooper, it's a challenge for him, and he's came in straight away and he's took to the fans, and I think we relate to him. Whereas with Houghton, there was always a bit of a disconnect. So it should be good times going forward. But again, we lose a few matches and the fans will be back on their backs, won't they? It's only sunshine and rainbows when you're winning.
We're fickle, aren't we, football fans?
Oh, so fickle. Like, our fans are pretty bad for it, but I think the more and more you speak to other fans, it's every single club, isn't it?
Yeah, we're all as bad as each other, I think, aren't we?
I mean, there was the way that we dealt with Jukanovic a few months ago, a month or two ago. On the surface of it, everybody was up in arms because we just basically sacked a manager that we were paying £1 million a month or whatever it was and put our youth team coach in charge. But all of a sudden now he's getting songs sung about him, about taking us back to the Premier League. Heck, he's the man for the job. It's football, isn't it?
Yeah, your fans were really loud at the City Ground, to be fair. Not as a surprise, but you know, I could hear how much you were on the players' backs. You know, it was so, and I think that was Jukanovic's last game. In fact,
mate, it was so boring. No, Reading was his last game.
Yeah,
it was so boring to watch.
Yeah. I thought he'd do a good job for you. It's one of those, isn't it? You make predictions and you think you know it all, but after a few games, Heckingbottom's turned into a world beater. I'd have never predicted that.
Nor would we.
We all did. I think we all did. We all thought Jukanovic was pretty much as good an appointment as we could have made. You know, with a good track record. I think the players weren't right for him, and he wasn't right for the players. You know, there were rumours flying around that the players didn't particularly like the way he went about things, and there's a couple of the players, Sharp in particular, has made some comments in interviews about how the intensity wasn't there in the training sessions, and obviously you take that into the match. So it looked like the right appointment, but it just didn't work out, did it at all?
No, wrong man, wrong time. But
I tell you what I am interested in from a Forest point of view, how you've got to tune out on Max Lowe.
What a player from our perspective. This is another one where he's injured at the minute, and we are sorely missing him because our next cover left back is Gaetan Bong, who our fans have a particular disliking to. So we've been playing like Jack Colback at left back.
Yeah, he played against us at left back, didn't
he? Yeah. So Colback, before Cooper came in, it was finished for him at Forest. No fans would even think about playing him, and he's came in, turned into a world beater, another one. Max Lowe, I've got nothing but positive words to say about him. Like, we're really missing him at the minute, and I'd want him permanently. So I guess he only really played in the Premier League for you lot as well, didn't he? So it's hard to judge it as clearly.
He played in a bad side in the Premier League as well. We were
Yeah.
very short of confidence last year. We'd not got the way that we played. Jack O'Connell was so important to, and him not being there alongside him probably made a difference as well. So yeah, I don't know. Will he come back and get another chance, or will we move him on? If the money's rumoured to be on's right, I suspect he'll get moved on.
I think he will. I mean, to be honest, the way he's playing, I think he'd probably have a sniff of getting in out, at least getting in the side at the minute, because Ender Stevens looks like he's possibly his race has run. He's not really kind of picked back up. And then beyond him, you're looking at Norrington Davis, who again doesn't look anything sparkling. And then after that, we're into Ben Osborne slotting in there. So, but I think you're right. I think we will. I think if Forrest throw a bit of money at us in January for him, I think he'll go, to be honest.
Well, fingers crossed, because we've always had issues with left backs, like you just said with Ben Osborne playing left back. We had to do that a few times. It's been an ongoing problem for years and years. So to sign Max Lowe and not have another player coming on loan and bugger off again will be a treat. So have a word with Eckenbottom for us.
So at the beginning of the season, Zack, obviously before Houghton went, what was the aim for Forest? What would have been a good season for you guys? Was it consolidation? Was it playoffs? And has that changed now? Cooper's coming.
Yeah, it's tough because I'm not the everyday fan in a sense, because I'll try and look at it fairly glass half full. And to me, a mid-table finish will be good and start getting a bit of structure back into it, and then can kick on from there. But a lot of our fans have seen us win European Cups and such like, haven't they? Whereas for me, I've seen us doss about in League One, and getting promoted from League One is probably one of the most successful things I've seen as a Forest fan. Whereas others have seen Brian Clough and all these big dreamy stories. So they want us to get into the Premier League as quickly as possible. I think from our signings, you never expected that we could go and kick on, but a new coach has came in and just got them down to the training ground, and all of them have got confidence again. So our expectations have massively changed, and I really think we could achieve playoffs now. But at the start of the season, I'd have laughed you out of the building, really.
Yeah,
you guys, you'd have expected to go up, wouldn't you? Straight off the bat.
Yeah, we would.
Very much.
Yeah. On our podcast, we kind of, beginning of the season, we all said, what do we think we'll do? And I think we all said first, second, or third. I think one of us might have said third, but we all said top three.
Mm. But it's like you say, on paper, the squad that we've got, if they're all fit, Sander Berger and Lee Mousset, if they're fit and firing, are cheat codes at this level. They're that good. Yeah. Unfortunately, Berger's been injured most of the season. Lee Mousset's a pisshead, and the manager wasn't fitting the type of style we were trying to play, so it's never going to work.
I mean, I've seen Mousset's been linked today with CSK, Moscow, Besiktas, and Hearts. Now, if he finds out that Hearts' nickname is the Jam Tarts, he's going to look like a fucking shot. If he thinks there's junk food on offer, he's going to be there like a shot. You're right. If he's fit and firing, he's too good for this division, as is Sander Berger. But unfortunately, it don't work like that, does it?
No, rules are chucked out the window in this league. Honestly, it doesn't matter what team. You just look at all the teams who've gone down to League One, including yourselves. You look at your Palaces, your Norwich, Charltons, all these teams who have gone down. It doesn't matter what team you've got on paper, really. And now we've got all these fixture delays being chucked in, so it'll be even weirder of a year. When is Blackburn up second, aren't they? So that wouldn't have been predicted before, would it?
Are they? That shows how much notice I've taken. Are Blackburn second now?
I've done a bit of research before coming on this, you see. I didn't want to be bowled out by some dodgy questions, so I was like, I'll have a check of the league table here.
Do you know what? I've kind of deliberately not, just in case you told me something that surprised me, and you've done that. It's a nice one. Cheers for that.
Yeah, anytime, mate.
The thing is, this division, we're talking, you're saying, we might get playoffs and we might go up. We're thinking about playoffs and going up. The daft thing is, the journey's actually more enjoyable than the destination. We're all trying to get to the Premier League because we get 70 million, 60 million, then you get parachute payments. When you get up there, it's crap. This is a far more enjoyable division to actually be in. You're playing take the situation at the minute, you're playing every 4 or 5 games. Everyone can beat everyone else. It's exciting. You go up to Premier League, you might not play for 8 days. In probably 70% of games you're going to get fucking battered. You're basically going up thinking, if we can win 9 games this season and draw 4, great, we can stay up. You know, you're looking at a season where you might win 20 to 25% of your games.
It doesn't happen very often. Like harking back to us again, but to go up first season and finish 9th and go on the roller coaster we went on, that doesn't happen very often.
No.
And you're right. Everything else that goes with it, that the big clubs getting the decisions is polarized. You never kick off at 3:00 on a Saturday. You get opinions on social media from people from India that have never watched a game of football in their life that just drive you mad every weekend. And it's a different game. I like the Championship. I always have done.
Well, I'm sick of it now, though. Both. I'm sick of it now. I appreciate what you're saying, but that year when you had Sander Berger and you're singing Oasis songs and all that away from home, that looked pretty fun, to be fair. So when you get that element of the roller coaster, yes, but yeah, you're not wrong about the kickoff times. I'd miss that 3:00, just go down, know what I'm doing. But to have that one year, and I think we're one of only 8 Football League clubs who haven't played at Wembley now. So we want a playoff final more than anything. Get that little trip to Wembley. I want to experience what all these old lot have been banging on about my whole life.
You see, that's the thing. When I was growing up, Forest were pretty much, Wembley was almost like Forest's second home. You know, they were in FA Cup finals. They were in League Cup finals. They were in Zenith Data Systems Cup finals. So I saw obviously that iteration of Forest. The kind of after they won the European Cups, but they were still a good side. You know, you were still top 4, top 5 in the first division, cup finals, league cups, and that sort of thing. And even when you went down under Clough and back up, that second one, you know, where you had, you know, like your Collymores and your Brian Roys and people like that, they were still a good side, you know. And Sheringham and people like that.
Missed it all. I was born in '96, and like Collymore, and that would have been. I'd have been like
who was your first favourite player then? If you missed all that sort of
first favourite player, we're talking about Brennan Johnson. Ironically, it'd be his dad, David Johnson.
Yeah.
So when I first started going to Forest, probably when I was around 6, 7, 8. So my dad's a Bolton fan, so I sort of had to get into it myself. But David Johnson was one I remember. Marlon King was there at the time, of course, played for you lot as well, and we probably won't talk about him too complimentary.
Yeah, no, let's not.
But at the time, for a young lad coming through, he was quite an exciting player. Junior Agogo was another one who down in League One, if you can remember him. Yeah, he was a quality player. Robbie Earnshaw, as I've grown up through my teenage years, we beat Derby 5-2 when I was about 13, 14. So that one always sits quite well in the memory. And I hear horror stories about our game against you lot back in the day, though, when I was still quite young, a playoff semi-final.
Yeah,
legendary.
Yeah,
amazing. Absolutely
Des Walker own goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
so,
we've got bad memories.
You guys were 2-0 up, 1-1 from first leg. You guys were 2-0 up, early doors, 15 minutes in, 20.
Yeah, quite early.
And then we obviously went 4-2 up, obviously as the game went on, and then we went.
It ended up being 4-3.
We went 3-2 up, didn't we? And then we went
4-2 up, and then they scored late on.
And then you scored late on, but yeah.
Bad.
The oh my God game, as that's known amongst
Sheffield United. Pescasolido whipping his shirt off. Oh my God! And just
did he go up that year?
No. Playoff final, Sheffield United. Don't be silly.
No, that was the season we got to. We got the playoff final, the League Cup semi-final, and the FA Cup semi-final, and lost them all.
Big Neil Warnock.
Yeah, Neil Warnock. Yeah, triple assault season. Yeah.
Triple assault. No, the playoffs, though, we've had that one against you. In League One, we lost to Yeovil when we won the first leg 2-0, and then we went down 5-2 in extra time. Lost to Blackpool, similarly so. Went into extra time in the second leg at the City Ground, lost again. And then we lost to Swansea in 2011 in the playoffs, and then that's been it. We've just been relegation fodder, flirting with it, and then staying up, and then mid-table since then. A lot's happened in those years. A lot. I've got a lot more faith in that.
In fairness, you are due some. Yeah, in fairness, we're moaning about having a couple of seasons at Premier League. Yeah, in fairness, you are due. You are due.
One day, if we're in the playoffs, so just remember this conversation, because another one of these horror shows could happen. Get your money on Forest bottling it after a first leg win.
Put your money now on Chris Wilder beating Sheffield United in the final at playoffs. Put your money on that. Bet that to the bank.
Do you reckon he celebrates? Yeah. Do you reckon he goes for it on the touchline celebrating, or muted?
He'll
Do
celebrate.
you know, I don't. You'd like to think he wouldn't because of his affinity with the fans. However, like Phil said earlier on, with the way things ended with the owners, I don't know. I honestly don't know. You'd like to think he wouldn't, but
I don't even want to think about it anymore.
no, I can't even think about it.
I hope you get your run out in Wembley. That means we won't be playing them one way or another, whether you play them or whether we play you.
Yeah. If we, you know what, if you do get to playoffs, then we'll have you back on and we'll kind of remind you of this conversation, either before or after.
All over it.
Brilliant.
But no, that's been great. Much appreciated, Zack. And I know obviously we started a bit downbeat, and you know, we are where we are with fixtures, and hopefully things can start settling down, and we can start getting some games played. That's every team, not just us. Obviously, it's a bit more close to home for us, but obviously every team, we all want fixtures played, we all want games played, we all want the season to finish properly. But obviously we picked things up at the end, Zack. That's been great, obviously, to hear about Forrest, and it's made me feel really old, because obviously I remember Brian Clough and Steve Sutton and Des Walker and Neil Webb and people like that. So that's made me feel really, really old. So yeah, thanks very much.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
But yeah, obviously, Zack, you know, obviously we're trying to get as many fans of other teams on. So if you're happy to come back on again at some stage, we'd obviously love to have you back on this year.
Absolutely, mate. Just give me a shout.
Spoken really well about your club. Maybe we'll, maybe get you back on at some stage when United and Forest play each other. We'll see where we are down there.
Yeah, I don't think it's too long away. Give me a shout all over it.
No, that'd be great. But no, again, happy New Year, everyone. Obviously, hope everyone's had a good Christmas. Fingers crossed for a good season for everyone. And yeah, like I said, like we always say, anyone that wants to interact, hit us up on the socials. We're more than welcome to come on and have a chat with us like Zack has tonight. So thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you all next week.
See you next week.